Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, which is titled, Are you managing your Oracle E-Business Suite system, or is it managing you? My name is Alan Kerr, and I'm the Commercial Director for Velos IT. If, as I'm going through the presentation, you've got any questions, please use the chat facility, which should be available on the right-hand side of your screen. Throughout this presentation, we've tried to make this more about what IT organisations should be doing to help manage their systems, regardless of who is actually doing it, either the internal IT department or an external service provider. We have, however, used Velos IT examples of how we've achieved this throughout the presentation. So some of the slides, etc., are real examples of what we've done and what we've achieved with some of our customers by doing some of the things we're going to be talking about. I just noticed I've got a mistake in my first slide. We've already run this presentation for Judy Edwards. It's a very similar presentation for eBusiness Suite. So basically that slide should say eBusiness Suite, but what we're going to be doing is to start looking at typical types of eBusiness Suite problems that we see being experienced by many customers when we first start talking to them. All the issues we're going to cover don't apply to all the customers, but you can generally pick and choose the ones which ring a bell. Over 75% of all system downtime is usually caused by human error. In other words, someone in your IT department making a mistake. So a key focus should be on how you address this. We also see lots of company IT departments focusing time on sexy new technology and not giving enough time to the more mundane business as usual processes. It also surprises us how often companies are dependent on what I call the internal hero, a single individual who controls and knows everything about your organisation and is reluctant to give up his knowledge and hence reduce their influence. Even if you try to bring in new processes and controls, they see this as a threat to them and tend to work against them. If this is your organisation, then you need to address this and fix it, as it's a disaster waiting to happen. You then generally, in standard IT departments, have the issue of not enough of the right kind of skills. IT systems are becoming more and more complex, and it's becoming almost an impossible challenge for smaller IT departments to have the right level of skills across the board. Which means, through no fault of your own, that your limited number of staff start to become generalists rather than experts. So unintentional mistakes happen because your staff don't have the detailed knowledge necessary to support the growing complexity of your systems. Also, as they're only supporting the one system, more often than not, the issues they're dealing with will be brand new to them. Even if they've had the issue before, most companies or customers that we've dealt with don't have a good system for tracking back to see what the fix was that was put in place the last time. The fact that the problem has occurred again also means that they've probably been too busy firefighting to have had the time to put a full and proper resolution in place that would have stopped the problem happening again anyway. This is made worse by the fact that your eBusiness Suite system operates 24/7, even although your business might not. So not only do you not have enough staff with detailed skills and experience, you probably struggle to get them to work out of hours, and hence you end up with first thing in the morning type system problems. All of which leads to you missing your SLA, even if you have an internal SLA. Well, some companies that we've come across do have internal SLAs. They don't really have any teeth, and as such, they're probably, generally a bit of a waste of time. So, lots of areas for potential problems, and then generally IT departments are being asked to do more with less. If you can do more with less without changing something fundamental, then I'd suggest you may not be you've been doing a pretty poor job up until now. I also remember a few years ago when I was the European IT director for a large multinational, arguing that I was happy to do less with less, but more with less wasn't achievable. And in typical American style, I was forced to think outside the box. I made some fundamental changes, and those resulted in significant savings and improved systems performance. Gartner's also been saying for a number of years that the best IT departments are the ones that are involved in leadership within a company. They're not just technical IT plumbers who occasionally become volunteer firemen putting out technical fires. If you're not adding value to your company and helping it move it forward, then again, I'd suggest you're not doing the best job possible for your company. Well, the good news is you're not alone. And lots of other companies have been, and many continue to be, in this same situation. So, why should you listen to what Velas IT have to say on this matter? Well, the bottom line is that we've got a track record of working with some blue-chip customers, a number of blue-chip customers, most of whom have had a selection of these types of problems before we've become involved, and we've subsequently provided fixes for them. These are just some of the customers we provide a variety of services to. You may recognize some of the names. Generally, the bigger the company, the more services we provide. C&C, for example, they own Tennent's Caledonian Breweries, Magners and Gamers Cider. Element 6 is part of the De Beer Diamond Company. Wolseley own the Drain Centre, the Bath Centre, the Plum Centre, etc. And Velas IT provide a variety of different multi-year managed services to these customers. These charts represent Priority 1 and Priority 2 SLA charts, or SLAs, for one of those customers that we were talking about there. As part of the service take-on for this customer, we had to load their existing incident ticket information into our system. One of the benefits of this to us was that we could then compare the service before we took it on and after we were providing the service. The results are fairly typical of what we experience, in that once we've implemented our processes and controls, it takes about a month for the impact to take effect. So you can see that when we took the service on for this customer as of the 1st of May, results were pretty similar to April, but from June onwards there was a significant performance improvement, which is to do with the introduction of structured process and control, which I'll discuss shortly. From a budgetary point of view, again, this chart is based on real figures and shows the impact we had with this one existing customer that's been with us for many years. To be fair, this is probably the most extreme saving that we've achieved. And it was achieved through a number of changes, including changing the staff resourcing model and including a full hardware architecture refresh. Well, I haven't put the scale on the left-hand side. The savings to them were in the hundreds of thousands of pounds. And you can see that through the years, although the big savings were early on, that the savings have continued year after year. So, the $64 million question is, how do you achieve system stability? In other words, how do you gain control of your e-business suite system? Well, the reality is that in our experience, there's no single silver bullet. It's more a combination of doing several things right that starts to deliver the benefits. Process management is an absolute key feature. Having a process flow for everything that you do that's easy to follow and understand, and hence, because it's easy to understand and follow, it's actually used. That hyperlinks to other documents that makes the employee's job who's using this process document easier, and hence they want to use the process documentation. It's not just a big thick manual. And this example of one of our process flows, the green comments and orange boxes are hyperlinks to other processes or relevant forms that the employee has to fill in, or documentation associated with this process. These process documents should also be a key review component for when anything does go wrong. Where did the process let us down? What needs to be changed so it doesn't happen again? Then the process updated, and it's agreed with everyone that this new process, updated process, will address the issue that we've just experienced. It's also a model to help ensure that processes are carried out the same way by every employee each time. And as we discussed earlier, this is a key component in the fight against the hero environment, making them give up and share their knowledge. A knowledge management system with a good history is another major benefit that you require. But every issue is tracked and the fix logged, and it's easily identified if it happens again. This is a key benefit to someone like Velos IT, for an incident happens with one customer and we then have a quick fix for other customers. Other processes such as risk assessments should be carried out to identify where there may be weaknesses in your processes and what their potential impact could be. Obviously, you then need to follow these up with issues and put the necessary corrective actions in place, which then brings you on to structured change management and having a structured process in place that ensures appropriate tests have been carried out, backups put in place, and all the system owners are happy with the changes being implemented. Another feature that we believe is key to system stability is automation. If it can be automated, then automate it. Take the human and his errors out of the equation. If you can't automate it, then place controls around it. Velos IT have a concept, it's not quite an ITIL concept, but it's something we've added, and that we have a concept of an activity ticket, which basically ensures that if a human has to do something, then an activity ticket is logged within our system. It's then allocated to an individual who carries out the activity, and they then sign to say it's been done, and this is all managed within an SLA. And that can include things like remembering to do the annual DR test. Right? We have multiple activities against the annual DR test that pop up at the right point in time and remind us what we've actually got to go and do, instead of it being something that we may forget for 2 to 3 months or even carry out at all. We also recommend using open source tools to supplement the automation and help improve the stability of your system. We're focused on, Velos IT have focused on open source, basically as they're free and can deliver virtually, but maybe not quite, but virtually all of the functionality of the expensive supplier tools that are out there. Examples of this include tools such as Nagios and Cacti. Over the years, we've also built our own specific e-business suite modules for these tools, which have further automated the monitoring and management that we can achieve with this system and this automation. As with any system, you're far better to go with a tried and tested solution than starting from scratch. Excuse me. Automation and monitoring tools are as much a system as your e-business suite is. They're complex to understand and manage, and they probably need yet another set of technical skills over and above all the other skills you need. They are what they say they are. They're tools with which you have to develop monitoring systems that deliver you benefits. The Velos IT monitoring system has already been bespoke to work with several e-business suite systems and can be easily modified to fit any other e-business suite system. Systems integration is also key. Having your monitoring system integrated with your e-business suite system and other systems, and then integrated into your service test system, means that communication of issues is faster and more accurate and reduces the number and severity of the issues that you experience, and we've got significant experience of this. This integration should also include the production of service review reports or monthly progress reports showing how your system has performed. These reports should then be used as the key input to analysing issues and trends and putting in place the necessary projects to address and fix these. This is a typical one-page report out of our 70-page monthly report that we do for most of our customers, which over the months shows big improvements in applications and server-related incidents. And that's not just by chance. We've recognised that they were big issues early on, and we put project teams in place to reduce those down, so being very proactive on it. So in other words, what we're looking at is constant improvement. Excuse me. As highlighted at the beginning, you also need to be keeping a close track on your staff levels and ensuring you've got the right mix of skills. And this is one of the charts that we use to do this. One of the benefits of using a service provider in this area is that you can timeshare key resources such as Apps DBA or DBA resources so that they're available as and when you need them, and they have a prior knowledge of your system. This is our current resourcing model, and you can see that with some flexibility around the eBusiness Suite resource, with about 30% of existing capacity available in there. You also need to keep track of your hardware capacity. This again is an example of our current multi-tenant hardware platform which we have that's currently being used by a number of our customers. The blue in the frame is the full capacity of all the frames that we have in our data centers. The maroon is the current installed capacity on those frames, and the cream is the current usage. So you can see that there's lots of capacity available on it, with maybe the exception of the MPLS links, but they're easy to add. And what this is telling us is we don't need to be running out of any resources in the hardware, that frame, multi-tenant framework at any point in the near future. And we recommend that all customers should be doing similar type activities. As I alluded to earlier, you also don't want to be the first penguin off the technology iceberg. Although a slightly unusual phrase, I've been using it for a while, and it was used by an IBM salesperson to me a number of years ago when I thought I was too near the bleeding edge of IBM's technology. As a single company, any new technology, or in fact any new application, is a bit like being the first penguin off the iceberg, as it's all new to you. And you just don't know what problems there might be lurking just below the water. In other words, it can be a good idea to work with a partner who knows your system and has already implemented any new technology or application changes that you're planning. So, if some or all of what I've been talking about applies to you, what can you do about it? Well, one option is to reinvent the wheel and build all the processes and automation yourself, which is probably unlikely if you're having system problems because you're too busy firefighting anyway, and you don't have the time and don't have the people to carry out the process improvement and automation. Alternatively, you work with a partner who's already done it and helps you gain control. And if you're doing that, you should be looking for a partner who can deliver process control and management from a large template, a library of templates, who's also completed the integration and automation of the monitoring and management systems, and it's been developed over a number of years for your any eBusiness Suite system, and can be easily modified to fit your system. And the partner should also have the necessary skills and leadership to implement these processes into your organization, and who, coincidentally, is already working 24/7 and should be already supporting a broad range of other customers running the same system, or broadly the same system as yourself. From a Velis IT perspective, we have a number of different models that we currently use to support our customers. We operate what we call a book of tickets, where you can buy a set number of tickets of support from us on an annual basis, real low-cost type stuff. I think like £12,000 gets you access to a pool of experts in this book of tickets, and that's the starting point. This doesn't do a lot to help you with your process, but it does give you, as and when needed, access to a pool of eBusiness Suite and technical stack experts who can provide assistance as and when needed. Where, unlike third-party contractors, these experts have an existing and growing knowledge of your environment, and they can be engaged for short-term projects, days here and there, and not, if you're going to the contract marketplace, the standard minimum contractor term of 3 months. We can provide a resource-based model, similar to the tickets but based on resources, that provides additional resource as and when needed, but is based on a discounted day rate that we have because you're signing up for the resources in advance. And again, you get the flexibility of it. People are starting to know your e-business suite setup, your technical architecture, etc., rather than going into the freelance marketplace. We can add a monitoring-only service, although we normally link this with as a minimum to an additional resource-based model. And then what is becoming more of an activity, we can provide full remote support to your e-business suite system hosted within your environment. If necessary, we can add a DR capability to your existing hosted environment. Or we can provide your own private hardware solution from our data center. So your hardware in our data center, including DR, on an on-demand type basis. Alternatively, it can be on our hardware, solely allocated to yourself, and provided, a full, again, on-demand type service. However, what's becoming more interest to customers is our multi-tenant environment. That again comes with a full managed service, and the benefit of this is highly structured, resilient architecture at a significantly reduced price because you're sharing the base structure with a number of other customers. So we believe, as do our customers, that working with LSIT adds value and reduces costs. Your internal IT managers and teams spend less time firefighting but building in process and control, and less time being technical plumbers and more time being the internal consultants to the business and adding the value that they really should be adding. So, I said 30 minutes. That's us almost bang on the 30 minutes, so thank you for listening. And I'll now check to see if we have any questions. So, bear with me 2 minutes. And move into the technology again. Okay, a few questions in here. So, first question, what level of contract resource do you use? That's reasonably straightforward. Virtually 100% of our staff are full-time employees, as our pricing model doesn't allow for the high cost of contract resource. So we have minor exceptions to that. We have a ClickView consultant on board at the moment, and I think he's the only one out of nearly 100 staff that's a contractor. Okay. Second question here. What duration are your contracts normally for? Well, minimum for a managed service would typically be 12 months. However, if there's any LSIT hardware investment, if there's hardware investment from our side on it, then typically we'd be looking at a 3-year contract. But that's only if we're putting hardware into the contract. And one more, what are your typical daily rates? Well, obviously this can vary a lot depending on size of contracts and skills required. However, we tend not to lose contracts when we're in bidding for them, and believe that our rates are amongst the best, if not the best in the industry, certainly in the UK. Okay, so no other questions. So finally, if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to get in touch with us, we'll leave this information up on the screen for a short while. We've also been recording this session, and we'll have it up on our website within the next few days if you want to have a look at it. So once again, thank you very much for attending and listening. And as I say, if you want any more information, contact either myself, Alan Kerr, or we'll make it easy for everybody. The other contact is another Alan Sutherland. Contact details up on the screen. Thanks again for listening, and have a good day and a good weekend. Thank you.